Now we're going to do 3-point perspective. This one's going to be a little difficult for some of you. I'm going to walk you through it. It's going to be short because we only really need to do one. And then you will probably need to watch this as many times as you need to get this to sink in. It's a little bit difficult if you haven't done it before. Now, I typically call this, when I'm drawing it in person, I either call it worm's eye or bird's eye view, because things are not just, they're disappearing to the left and to the right, and they're also disappearing either away from you up or away from you down. And so it looks like you're either standing at the top, like maybe you're in a helicopter looking down on a city, or you're standing at the very base of a tower looking up. And so I'm going to start by making a horizon line on the lower third of my paper, somewhere around like right here. Like that. All right. Now, for what we're doing today, one of our points is going to be here. One of our points is going to be here. And then our third one is going to be right here. Okay, at the top of our paper. Can't really see that, sorry. Right there. I'm going to start with a dot this time. So I'm going to pick a dot about in the middle here and just place a dot. And I'm going to take every time I have a corner, I'm going to take it to all 3 vanishing points, okay? And so that's my corner there. I'm going to take it over here. Over here. And up to the top. Now, I'm going to do that same thing, or I'm going to find the edges of my box here with 3 new dots. I would once again recommend that you don't make your left and your right side the same width. And so I'm going to make one that's here, and I'm going to make one that's a little fatter on this side. There. And then I'm going to make one here, telling me how tall my box is. Now I'm going to take each of those 3 new dots we made, and I'm going to take them to the other 3 vanishing points. They're already going to 1, right? This dot already goes to the right. So I just need to take it to the other 2. And so I would take this one up. And to the left. This dot's already going to the left, so I'm going to take it up. And to the right. And then our last dot is going up, so it needs to go to the left and right. And so I have something like that. Now, if I'm drawing a solid object and I can't see through it, we would stop right there. That looks like this side, and this side. I'm underneath of this building that's going way up into the distance, right? Slowly getting farther away. It looks like a huge tower, okay? If I flip my paper over, right, where my horizon line is at the top, it looks like I'm looking down on the tower. Right? So that's how you would draw a cityscape, say, if you were floating in the air. Sometimes it's pretty useful if, say, you're like a comic book artist and you're drawing a lot of cityscapes and your comic hero is a flyer, you know, like you might need to map that out like that. So otherwise, it's not the most useful for most drawings that we'll do in here, but it's good to kind of know this stuff. And, it, you know, some of you are ready for a little bit of a challenge. Now, just to be difficult, we're going to draw as if we could see through this box. So when I took these dots to the other 2 vanishing points, it created 3 new dots. This line and this line crisscrossed to make a dot here. this line and this line crisscross to make a dot right there, and then these two crisscross to make a dot right here. Now, I'm going to take those new corners we just found to all three vanishing points. They're already going to 2. I just need to find the third one that it's not going to. And so this one's already going to the left and to the right. So I just need to take it up. Okay. This one's already going up and to the left, so it needs to go to the right. Okay. And then this one is already going up and to the right, so it needs to go to the left. Now, this is where we talked about last time, you can get little tiny mistakes that compound and get worse. This is where that can happen as well. Ideally, this dot is going to go through this point on its way over here. It doesn't look like that's going to end up being the case. Looks like it's just barely going to miss. But ideally, this here meets up with that, right? Sometimes what I'll do instead is I'll do like these two top here, and then I'll just connect this to the point where they crisscross, and it looks about right. That's how you would do that. I would recommend watching that as many times as you need to. I think I'm going to go ahead and draw one from the other direction, just so you can kind of see one from the bottom and from the top. And that way you guys kind of have both to pull from. But then you can watch this as many times as you need to until you get it. So I'm just going to flip my paper over here. 3-point perspective can get pretty complicated if you try to keep all of them on the same page. Every year I have a lot of kids that do like 10 different pages for this assignment, and that's perfectly acceptable. So I'm going to start with my horizon line at the top here. I got a dot here on the edge. I got a dot here on the edge. And then I've got one at the edge of my paper down here at the bottom. Right here. Right down here. Okay, I'm going to slide my board so it looks a little better for you guys. All right. So now, what I'm going to do, line that up, is I'm going to start with my dot again in the middle. I'm going to take that dot to all three vanishing points. Like that. I'm going to find how wide I want these to be. Once again, I recommend you make them different widths. And how tall I want it to be. Now, a real common mistake I get when we're teaching 3-point perspective to kids is they'll find out how tall they want this to be, and then for some reason they'll take these lines to that point. This is still my vanishing point down here. Make sure when I take these lines down, I'm taking them down to the vanishing point and not to the top of my box, or the bottom of my box in this case. Alright. Remember, every corner goes to all three vanishing points. So it's going down, so it needs to go to the left and right now. And if we couldn't see through this box, it wasn't made of glass, say it was a building, this is where you would stop, right? Looks like you're looking down on a skyscraper. And so, but just to be difficult, we're going to make it so that we can see through it. These two lines crisscrossed made a corner there, and a corner there. I'm going to take those corners to all 3 points. They're already going to 2, so I just need to find out which one they're not going to. Now this is where this little trick, I do the left and the right one. This doesn't end up lining up perfectly, which it looks pretty dang close. It's lining up all right. A lot of times I'll just line up this point that was created back here and this one. And it looks about right. So we'll go like that. And there's my box. Watch as many times as you have to. If you absolutely fail at these, I understand, but I expect to see you try to knock out 10 of these at least. In class, I will sit up there and draw 3-point perspective boxes until I cannot talk, if that's what it takes for you guys to learn this. Alright, so other than that, knock it out. I want 10 of this as well. I don't care if they're above or below lines or anything like that. Just 10 boxes in 3-point perspective.